Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, acting principal, vice principal, guidance counselor. Good afternoon. I know we're slated to begin at 3, but I want to give ourselves a couple more minutes and allow other persons to enter. So just a few more minutes, please. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me, Miss Grant?
Yes. Mrs. Smith-Hyman?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you. Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon again, parents. Acting Principal,
Okay, my
Mrs. Ford
phone's been
Bryan,
sucking up.
and
Could you speak again for me, please?
Vice Principal, Mrs. McDermott, Guidance Counselor. This meeting is now called to order, and Mrs. Smith-Hyman will be doing the prayer for us. Okay, Mrs. Smith-Hyman, go ahead. Hello? Mrs. Smith-Hyman?
Sure.
Seems she's having some challenges, miss, because I'm not seeing her in the list of participants.
Hold a minute. Miss Grant? So, Miss Grant? Miss Grant?
Yes, Mrs. McDermott?
Yes, I'm on the phone to Mrs. Ford Bryan just now. Something turned up, some emergency turned up, which she has to deal with. So she will not be in the meeting. I'm apologizing for her. So you can
Okay,
go
yes,
ahead and
miss.
begin.
Okay, yes, miss. Okay. All right. Mrs. Smith-Hyman, you can go ahead. We're hearing you.
Alright,
Hey, Logan, unmute for me K500S. That is Miss Smith-Hyman to do the prayer for us.
she is unmuted.
Okay. Mrs. Hyman, you are unmuted.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. All right, let us pray. I'm not certain if you can hear me, but
Yes, we
let us
can.
pray.
Yes.
Father, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, we thank you, mighty God, for this wonderful day. We thank you, Lord God, that in spite of all the things that are happening, we are alive, and for the most part, we are well. We ask, mighty God, that you will continue to have mercy upon us. We thank you for all of the wonderful blessings, and we are hopeful that these blessings will be upon us, not just for this meeting, but for the entire school term. We ask that you bless the proceedings. We ask that you take charge of all things so that everything will be done according to your will and according to your purpose. We are going to leave all things in your hands because you are the great God, and you, oh God, are mighty and powerful, and there's nothing impossible with you. So we continue to look to you for your mercy, for clarity in situations, mighty God, when it seems as if nothing is possible or everything just seems dark. We know you're a way maker, and we're asking you, oh God, to make the way for us. Let all plans, all decisions, all things, all suggestions be according to your will, your purpose for the students, the parents, the teachers, and all the stakeholders of the Mark Bay High School. Have your own way in today's proceedings. We tell you thanks, mighty God, as we ask that you come in and bless us today. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Mrs. Smith-Hyman. All right. Thank you very much. And Mrs. Smith-Hyman is the form teacher for 5M. All right. Thank you very much. We are welcome parents to our first parent consultation meeting for fifth form. I can assure you at this level, this will be the first of many of this kind of meeting. I must also apologize for no camera. This device camera is not working. Has not been working for some time. Hopefully I'll get a new device. So I apologize for that. But I welcome you to this consultation, hoping that will not stay very long, but we'll be able to make it very fruitful and with substance. Must apologize for Mrs. Ford Bryan, as Mrs. McDermott stated earlier. She had an emergency and will not be able to be with us in this meeting, but Mrs. McDermott is able to answer questions and represent as well as possible. Right? I want to bring this quote to your attention. Behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believed first. Matthew Jacobson, he said it, and I repeat, behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believed first. And I'm going to encourage us, crucially here. Can you remember the little babies in first form? Some were so apprehensive and some were already rooted and grounded. They were fearless, right? They came and nothing, they were not daunted. And there were some others that you had to gently get settled. But now they are the senior students in the school on the threshold of what is going to be for them one of the greatest experience of their lives as a fifth former at Morant Bay High School. So much to do, so much to get right, and to make sure that we present them in the best way and that they capitalize on this opportunity, and that going forward, as somebody said in the morning presentation, that we're not looking back at the past. We're not trying to look back at what went on. We're going to live in the present and aim to make the future as best as we can make it. So all of those things that went on last year, right? Not that we're not going to acknowledge it, but we're not going to allow it to be the focus, especially if it is something negative. We're going to try our best to build and to make sure that this year is a meaningful, productive year, and that as parents, you're involved and that you pour into your children that belief that you have in them, that belief that they will succeed, that belief that in them lies greatness, that you as a parent will help them to unearth and to be the best individual that they can be. All right. So that's my introductory remark. We want to move on because it's Friday evening and I'm cognizant that there are persons among us who are Sabbath keepers and we don't want to, infringe on persons' religious rights. So with no hesitation, I'm going to invite Mrs. B. McDermott, who is the vice principal in charge of fifth formers and also the vice principal in charge of external exams. So you're going to work very closely with Mrs. McDermott. She's going to work closely with your children, with form teachers and your teacher, and you as well. So Mrs. McDermott, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ms. Grant.
Welcome, Miss.
Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to all. I am really happy here to be addressing you parents this evening. This is really a very good place to be. I know some of you are thinking of first form when your child came in first form. There was second form, third form, fourth form, and now you are at fifth form. It is as if you are at a crossroads. I told the students this morning that they have entered or they're about to enter the pinnacle of their success because they would have been working from first form coming up, and now they are about to do their CSEC exam. This is really a pivotal point in their lives because it determines where they will go from here on, whether they will matriculate for institution of higher learning, whether they will not get their subjects, which we are hoping will not be for some people, and they have to repeat, or whether they will move on with their career. So I just want to welcome you. You should feel proud this evening. Your child or your ward is in 5th form. And I know it wasn't easy getting to this point. I know there were many challenges, and in particular, the last 1.5 years when we have had to be battling with COVID, well, we still are, but I know of the challenges that some of you had, parents, but I'm really happy that they have reached this far. As the song says, we have come this far by faith. And I know some of you are saying that in your heart, because it is by the grace of God why you are able to take them this far. Now, I just want to say thanks to the form teachers who have been working with the students, and of course, their year teacher, Miss Grant. We want to extend our thanks for the hard work and for the dedication in enabling these students to be here at 5th form, and these parents who are representing them this evening. Now, I just want to say to you parents that this is a partnership, as you have been hearing all along. And I know many of you have partnered with us over the years. I know that some of you have regularly sought out the interest of your child, speak with your teachers and so on, be involved with the various groups. And we are really happy for that. And this year, more than ever, we are going to ask you to be partners with us and to give us your feedback, because for the process of entering the students for the exams, we need your input. It is not going to be a teacher and a student, but parents, your part in this activity is vital. We are going to ask of you parents to be that encourager for your child. At this stage, some of them are going through situations that they don't want to tell their parents, or some of them will not openly discuss things with you, but be that encourager for them and be there for them. I want to admonish you also, parents, seek assistance for your child. I met parents last year who, when you ask, why is it that the child was not online? Why is it that the child performed so poorly? And it's only then you are hearing, Miss, we never had the device. Miss, we had various problems. So reach out to us. Mr. Logan is the guidance counselor, and you can reach out to him. Not that we can solve all the problems, but at least we will try with those that we are able to. So please reach out to us so that together we can help your child or your ward to succeed. All right, now, Ms. Grant, I'm just going to go straight into examination. Should I?
Mrs. McDermott. Yes, Mrs. McDermott.
Okay.
Go right ahead. Yes.
All right, good.
And parents, please take out a piece of paper, pencil, pen, some pertinent information. We shared some with your children this morning, but you would want to write down as well. Okay, go ahead, Mrs. McDermott.
Okay. Now, your child at this stage is being prepared for CSEC examination, Caribbean Secondary School Education. Sorry, Caribbean Secondary School Certificate. And of course, we have a few students who will be doing the City and Guilds exam, mainly English and of course, mathematics. But I need you to listen carefully, parents, because I started out by talking about the partnership. And one way in which you're going to be partnering with us, or should have at least have started, is in the area of SBA. I know that is not new to any parent that is here today. You all know about SBA because your child or your ward should have started their school-based assessment. And as you know, the school-based assessment is that coursework component of the examinations that is given by the teachers will be marked by the teachers using the guidelines from CXC. And of course, it forms a percentage of your child's final examination grade. Now, they have an opportunity to go into the exam with a part of their grades. They would have achieved a part of their grades already, a percentage, and it differs for different subjects. So for some, it is 20, 30, 40, up to 60% of their grades they can go into the exam with. And of course, it would be very good if they go in with 100% on the SBA. It would make their task on the day of exam much easier. Not that they're not going to work hard on the day of exam. We do expect them to work just as hard, but the fact that they have done a part of the exam grade, that will make it a bit easier for them. So parents, don't let them tell you that they don't have any homework, they don't have anything to do. They will always have their SBAs to work on. And I know that many of them are in fact doing 8 SBAs. And some of these SBAs require a number of pieces or components. So they have no time to idle. And of course, they have no excuse not to have anything to do. And so we're going to be asking your parents to assist us in ensuring that the SBAs are done, number one, and also that they are done to the best ability of your child. We want to send in good grades because good SBAs most time is related to very good exam passes. So please assist them in that area. Now, some of them might be working on portfolios, so they might need pictures. The good thing about it though is that I recall in years past, $4,000 up to $5,000 students were paying to print material, to put in their portfolios, to put in their projects and their research when they had to do the hard copy of it. But now that everything is virtual, it is a saving for all of us. All right, so they are working on their portfolio, depending on the subjects that they're doing. They're working on their journals. If they're doing art, they're working on research, social studies, and other subjects. They are working on projects. They are working on presentations to be done to get their assessment grade. And of course, there are some who are designing and composing as they would do for the English. So I am going to be asking, support them, parents, and know what is happening. We want them to work on a timely basis, not wait until last minute. We want them to work on a timely basis. Don't let them tell you they have nothing to do and then at the end they rush. Because sometimes when that happens, they are so overwhelmed, they end up giving mediocre work, or sometimes they don't complete the SBA on time. And I must inform you that once they don't complete the SBA or once they don't hand in an SBA, that means that they have failed. In fact, the minute the teacher enters no SBA, the term ungraded will come up. All right, so they would have failed as a result of that. And I mentioned that the only exception would be in a subject with a one-off SBA, like the practical for the homework subjects. If so, they would need to submit doctor's certificate or valid evidence that they could not do the exam at that point in time. I must mention also at this point that if by any reason, parents, your child or your ward is going through a difficult situation or have a very challenging situation, like for example, maybe problem with their sight, maybe difficulty even in writing, we are going to ask that you please speak to the guidance counselor about it, because special consideration can be made for these students. So anything that is happening which is impacting the child's learning and will have an effect on their CXC examination, please let us know about it. Now, some of the SBAs will be done individually, as you would have started, as they would have started, so you would have seen them doing it, but some are in groups. And what we find out is that there are times when students don't contribute in the group. If that happens, they could very well end up with 0 or end up being asked to do the SBA on their own. So I don't want students to be there thinking that because it is group, they have to put out minimal effort, or they don't have to do anything at all, because whatever the group gets, they will get it. It is not so. A feedback is given, and if your child does not participate in the group, your child cannot share in the marks. Math, I know it's group. The business subjects, groups, and I know that there are others that will be group SBA. They need to do their part. There is the matter of plagiarism. And plagiarism, as you know, is when you take somebody else's words or ideas and you don't credit them for it. You take it for your own. We are going to be asking that you please speak to your child and ensure that your child is not copying other people's work. We have had cases where they copy other students' work, maybe a distant relative who did that subject and finished it some long time ago, believing that it would not be known. But please encourage your child or your ward to do his or her own SBA. Now, a declaration form is going to be given to the child for both parents and children to sign, stating that they are informed. Nobody should have any excuse. If they dare to plagiarize, they should have any excuse that they were not informed. So we will be sending that declaration form and ask that you put your signature to it, as well as your child or your ward. Now, I know that many students have so far qualified for their subsidy in the various subjects. I know that some have been working very hard. Ms. Grant is going to be giving you the analysis. And of course, you will see the areas for improvement. But I know that some parents, your children, have made it very easy for you in that they have qualified for subsidies. And of course, you'll be paying less for CXC fees. Just to remind you, because I'm sure you would have known, parents, that the government pays for 4 subjects. If your child is not on PATH, that is, the government is willing to pay for 4 subjects, namely mathematics, English, information technology, and a science subject. So once your child has 55% average and over in that subject is paid for. And that 55% would be examinations, midterm. I'm speaking now of 4th form work, 4th form midterm and end of term examination, classwork grades, tests, assignments. All of those will be averaged. And of course, the child who gets 55% and over will qualify for the government subsidy in the 4 subjects that I mentioned. However, if your child is on par, the ministry is paying for 8 subjects. 8 subjects, but again, they must be passing the subject with 55% and over to qualify. So I do hope that a lot of our students have so far qualified for these subsidy rather. Now, if your child is also doing the business subject, that is POB, POA, your child, if the child has an average of 80% and over, will qualify for NCB subsidy. So NCB will pay for POA and POB if the child is scoring 80% and over. And then if the child is doing electrical technology and is scoring 75% and over, the JPS score will pay for that child's subject. So you see, if your child or ward has been working consistently, it will pay off for this exam period. Now, so far, we have not gotten the figures from CXC for the fees for the 2021-22 period. In fact, even at this point, we are still awaiting the results from the examinations that were done in August. So I know that CXC has its hand full at this time, but what I'm going to say to you parents is that you need to ensure that you have that fee put down. I know some of you have been saving from the child came here in first form, and I know some of you have done some investment otherwise. Now is the time, because your child or ward will be taking home the information to you, and within a short space of time, we're going to be asking you to pay that fee. Remember, I said we have got nothing from CXC so far, and they are now working on finishing up the exams that was done. So it is going to be very quick, very short space of time that they're going to be giving us to pay the examination fees. Now, usually it is done in October. Now it's September, what is it? Nearly almost mid-September. And usually the deadline date that we would get is October. So please ensure that you have that money put aside so that when we say it is time, you are able to pay the child's examination fee. But I must add here that if you are having difficulties, you need to let the guidance counselor know of it. All right, so if when that time comes, you are not in a position to pay the fees or something has happened, not meeting the deadline, parents, we need to know of it. I will give you the fees for last year so that this can basically guide you. And the fees that I will give you now will be those without subsidy. So as soon as we have worked out the subsidy, you will know of it and you will know exactly how much you need to pay. But we charge a registration fee, and that is from the school's point of view. That registration fee is to cover all the examination expenses from the entry of the exam right back to the process of the exam. So that's $2,500. Then there's an entry fee, that's CXC entry fee. All parents are required to pay that. That is $4,870. And then for each subject, the child is required to pay $3,850. $80. That's a subject fee. Now, if in addition to the subject, they are doing a practical, then for the practical, they will pay for the practical, they will pay $1,420. And the practical will apply mainly to the home ec subjects. Now, if they are doing oral subjects, that's a language, any of the languages, French or Spanish, they will be required to pay an additional $1,750. And if your child is doing PE, the practical for PE is $3,040. $3,040. Now, as I say, remember, these are the 2020 to 21 fees. So you can add, well, based on our dollar, because I must tell you that these are based on the Barbadian, the Bayesian dollar, which is pinned to the American dollars. And with our currency so weak against the American dollars, you know that we will pay a lot of money. So I am just informing you here that these are the 2020 to 21 fees. So it will be a bit higher for 2021 to 22. As I said, to this will be added the subsidy that your child has gotten. Now, I have worked out here yes, I have worked out here based on last year's fee, a child who is doing 8 subjects, including 1 oral, 1 practical, and PE. And that totals $44,620. All right, I just put the breakdown in the chat there for you. So the $2,500 will be the registration fee, $4,870 entry fee, $31,040, that is the 8 subjects, $1,750 the oral, $1,420 the practical, that is the home ec subject, and $3,040, that is the P, and that totals $44,620. So this could be your child's fee minus the subsidy. Now imagine if that child is on path and that child has gotten all the subsidies, then you would have taken out the $31,040, and of course the relevant practical areas as well. And if your child is on path, the entry fee is also paid. So if your child got 8 subjects on path, all you'll be required to pay is $2,500. That sounds very good. And of course, even if your child is not on path, you can get the benefit of the 4 subjects if they have worked and qualified for it. I know this is not new to your parents. You have been hearing of it. And I know your child or your ward was working towards it. Oh, I'm hearing new. Oh, sorry about that, Miss Mattison. But okay, I'm hearing never heard before. All right, I'm really sorry about that. Oh, you mean the 3,040? 3,040, that is the PE practical fee. All right, so it's 3,040 for physical education practical fee. If your child is doing physical. Oh, the biggest figure. Okay, that is the 8. That is 8 subjects. Remember, each subject is $3,880. All right, but not to worry about the figure, not to worry about the figures, because I know that some of you like me, not good at the math and might be making error. Your child is going to be taking home all of that to you on a form. All right, so it will be calculated, printed, given to the child, and all you will need to do is to look at that total number. Do your own additions, do still, because nobody's perfect, all right? So do your own addition, but all you will need to do is to pay what is on the form. All right, so I will look at that for you. Just a little about the process now. I am going to be asking you parents. Miss Grant will tell the teachers exactly when, but we need your child's birth certificate. Very important. We need to ensure that the names are correctly spelled. We need to ensure that the date of birth will be correct. So we will need the child's birth certificate, and we will also need you to ensure that when we say, please check, you check along with your child. All right, so I'll mention that again, but we need the birth certificate so we can do the entry. So please, when we request them, please send them promptly. In fact, we are going to be asking that they be copied and be sent. All right? Because in this COVID situation, we have to be very careful. All of us have to be very careful, and as far as possible, when we don't have to meet as a group, we will avoid that. So we'll ask that you upload your child's birth certificate to us. Now, when we have gotten that, we would know that the child's name is correctly spelled and also the date of birth is correct. All right, now, your child, even though the child is doing 8 subjects, will need to be recommended to do the subjects. So later down in September, teachers will be asked to complete a recommendation list. The recommendation will be based on your child's performance and attitude. Please note, teachers will write, but teachers are not the ones who recommend the child. The child recommends him or herself. So it will be based on the child's performance in the subject, as well as the child's attitude. And I am going to be stressing here, because teachers have to work very closely with the students, and we would like that whoever they're working with is respectful towards them. All right, so the attitude in terms of respect towards the teacher and the attitude towards the subject, it can be so discouraging when you are trying to help a student and the student has a negative attitude towards the subject. So it's performance and attitude that will recommend the child. So after the recommendation is done, then we will compile that form that I told you about, that will have the subjects the child is recommended for. It will have the cost beside it. It will have the number of subsidies that have been awarded to the child. And of course, it will state how much you are to pay. So when that is sent to you, as I said, that is going to be a short window. So you will do your payment. You are able to pay at the school using your card, point of sale at the school. You will get your receipt there. And of course, you can pay online. Ms. Grant will give you some instruction about that. I think she has already given you that. And then, if of course you cannot pay by any of those 2 ways, then vouchers are available for you to pay at the bank. All right, so that is how the exam fee will be paid. After the payment is done and we enter the child in the ORS system, before we we send that information off to CXC. We usually print what is called a subject register. Now, the subject register is given to the child for the child and the parent or ward to examine the subject register. Very important, parents. I said to the students this morning, you are going to look at your names like when you were spelling at primary school. Look at each letter and ensure that everything is correct, because parents, it is going to cost you to do corrections. If it is to the personal data, it's going to cost you. If it's to add a subject, it is going to cost you. If it is to change a subject, it is going to cost you. If it is that the child should have transferred SBA from one subject to the other, and that was not checked and pointed out, and of course, it was discovered later after everything was sent to CXC, you will have to pay for that. And just to tell you that last year, when I say last year, I mean this school year here for the exam in August here, students who never paid attention to their details, and of course, some students who, for one reason or the other, subject was not on their list or subject was the wrong one, they had to end up paying in excess of $21,000. Now we just did the calculation and we saw that for 8 subjects, it is $44,000. But one single subject can cost you almost half of that. So please, parents, remember I started out partnership. They will need to check and to be sure. So please check with them when the subject register is given. Then both of you will sign. And once you have signed, that becomes a legal document. Because later on, when you are going to point out and say, Mrs. McDermott made an error, remember, you were asked to check. And if you didn't check carefully and you sign, then of course, Mrs. McDermott will not be liable. So I'm going to ask you, please ensure that you check. So they'll get the subject register after the subject register is returned. And of course, we ensure that whatever corrections there are done. Oh, that's another thing, parents. Don't sign to a form that is incorrect. And don't let your child sign to a form that is incorrect. Ensure that the corrections are done first. If it means that the person is going to put a signature beside the error or whatever, but ensure that the corrections are done first before you sign. All right, so after the corrections are done, remember you would have paid, corrections are done, there will be at least 2 or 3 other opportunities for checks to be made. Now, on the first occasion, it's going to cost you very little. But of course, if when we say checks are not done and there are delays and it's done closer to the point of exam, it is going to cost you more. So I am going to be asking you, as I said, remember we're talking about American dollars, which is pinned to the Bayesian dollars, so and our weak dollars compared to it. So it is going to be costing you. So please, parents, I can't emphasize enough that both you and your child or ward need to do the necessary checks. So they'll be allowed to check the CXC system, and whatever corrections there are can be done very early. All right, so I am just going to be asking of you to assist them in this way, and let us work together. Now, while I am at it, I will also let you know that the school is offering students a chance to improve their performance in an evening institute. We have a number of subjects that are offered, and we are going to be asking you, if you know that your child needs the assistance, please enroll the child in the Evening Institute. Ms. Grant, you have the information on that?
It was shared with the form teachers, so it's
Okay.
in the WhatsApp group.
It's in the WhatsApp group. All right.
Right.
Thank you very much. All right. So parents, please take note of that. And if your child is weak in any particular area, I'm going to ask of you, please let your child be enrolled and let your child attend the evening class and of course improve his or her performance. I must also mention that your child will be in the group that will be mandatory for them to do 7 years of high school. I know you have been hearing about it. The Minister of Education has been speaking about it. And I just want you to know that at Morant Bay High School, we have added another group to our sixth form. So whereas we usually have the traditional sixth form, we now have a technical sixth form where students can do practical area subjects. We have not added all of them just yet. Over time, we will keep adding, but your child will be able to pursue sixth form, in which if they have not received the relevant number of subjects, and of course in the particular grade to qualify for the traditional sixth form, they can enter the technical sixth form, in which they will be doing a few CAPE subjects. They'll be doing CSEC subjects along with that, and of course a practical area. All right, so please consider that. And of course, we look forward to seeing your child or your ward in sixth form. All right, let me just tell you parents that I know there are going to be challenges with you, challenges with your child or your ward, but I'm going to ask of you to give of your best to the child. Please be there for them, and not just in finance, but as I mentioned, be that encourager. Be there so that there are times when they will cry and get frustrated. I know that, having gone through it. Be that shoulder for them to lean on. And I'm going to ask you, remember, we are here to assist you. Let us know of the difficulties that you are having. And I just want to leave with you that God is able, and with God, nothing is impossible. Put everything to him in prayer. And as a parent, I can tell you, because I know that it works for me, put your child before the throne of grace. Have time when you pray and when you intercede before God for them, because it is really a difficult time that they are living in. So all things are possible. Work hard with your child and have faith that they will succeed. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. McDermott. That was a very informative presentation, parents. I hope you listened keenly and you have made the relevant notes. I realized somebody was saying that that was new to them. I don't know what is new, because I remember when they were going into third form and we had that first parent consultation, we gave you some background information on CSEC and even the fees paid for that year, and tell you to prepare. In fact, we did that from first form. We tell you about the CSEC fees. We didn't give you any figures at that time, but we tell you, as Mrs. McDermott was saying, invest, save the money because it is coming. At third form, we gave you some exact numbers, and we told you also about the subsidy and the subjects that the government will be paying for and how they are to work towards that. We never told the parents per se at fourth form, but we told the students, so they would be aware of the subsidy and the fact that they need to work hard in order to benefit from these things. But all things considered, I think they will be able to benefit as we move forward. Thank you very much again, Mrs. McDermott, for that detailed presentation. We want to move along because we understand it's Friday evening. I don't see the PTA president nor Dr. Brian James with us this afternoon. So we're going to move on to Mr. Logan to make his presentation. Mr. Logan, are you with us?
Yes, Miss, I am here.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. All right, over to you. Yes.
All right, good afternoon, parents. Welcome to our parent consultation. I hope you have been having an informative session thus far. All right, so I am Mr. Logan, as was said, guidance counselor with direct responsibility for fifth form. Now, for this school year, our intention in the guidance and counseling department for this year group is quite simple. Our intention is to get them through the school year, also helping them to prepare for what comes after high school. So post-secondary preparation is a focus of ours. So with this in mind, most of our programs at the fifth form level will be geared towards post-secondary preparation. So when you hear or see in the WhatsApp group presentations and sessions that are being advertised for them. So when we invite the colleges and the universities and the trade schools for those persons who are not necessarily inclined and attending a college or university, when we invite these persons to do sessions and presentations with them, I implore you to implore them to attend. In years gone by, we would have had college tours and visits, and we would have taken 2 busloads of them to the University of West Indies or University of Technology or NCU or whatever the case is. And when we have our career week at the Career Expo, most of the colleges and universities in the island would come to us and they would have opportunities to learn about the institutions. And this did happen for them in third form, yes. So they would have the opportunity to learn about these institutions. That's not happening again, right? Obviously, no trips or so can be planned for now. So instead, we have to facilitate these things over the Zoom or Google Meets platform like we're doing now for this meeting. And this is how, if they don't do the research and stuff on their own, this is how they will learn about these opportunities that are there. So when we have persons come and speak to them about scholarships for colleges and universities, please implore them to come. When we have overseas recruiters coming and talking to them about studying in the US or Canada or UK or whatever the case is, please ask them, implore upon them to come out to these sessions. Because as I said, our aim is to prepare them for what comes next, what happens after high school, right? We are waiting to see, as Ms. McDermott said, what will happen with the 7-year high school program. So students is being mandated for students to go up to 6th form. We're expecting that this year will be the first full implementation of that initiative by the Ministry of Education. But we are still preparing them for that post-secondary plan, because whether or not they'll be going off next year, the planning starts now. As you've heard from me on countless occasions, I really do believe that as parents, we have one of the greatest responsibilities in the world, and it doesn't come with a manual. I wish I could create a PowerPoint and say, parents, if you do exactly these 3 steps, then everything will be okay and everything will be a success. But I can't do that, right? If I could do that, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you, because I'd be rich on an island somewhere by myself, because I'm sure every parent in the world wants that. But we can't do that, right? But there are a few things that have been proven to work. Parental involvement is one of those main ingredients in the recipe of student success, and creating the atmosphere at home for the students to do well. It doesn't it doesn't come by surprise the fact that a lot of times the parents, the students who are doing well, have the parents involved in their school life and creating that atmosphere at home. And the atmosphere at home doesn't necessarily mean buying and providing physical things for them to be comfortable. So they don't need a long settee from here to nowhere and a big screen TV on the wall at home. But simple things like building and developing that relationship with them where they're comfortable, where they don't dread, oh gosh, at 5 o'clock now, mommy soon come home. As soon as mommy come home, we know say I'll be screaming and shouting. And as soon as daddy come home, we know say hell and powder house in the house this evening. Creating an atmosphere for them to be successful is as simple as eliminating those things and making them comfortable, right? Being involved doesn't mean that you have to be in the form teacher or the subject teacher's inbox or WhatsApp every single evening. Why am do a class today? What happened at school today? That. But it means something as simple as asking them at the end of the day, how's class today, how's school today, what happened? So they can recap with you the day. When the SBAs get rough, parental involvement can simply mean they're up 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock working on the SBAs and you're there with them. Or even if you're not there with them, you come and you check in how things going, you're getting anything done. You know, spend that 5 minutes or 10 minutes with them, check in and see what's happening. So these are things that have been proven over the years to work. As I said, if I knew it all and had it down pat, I would write a book and then go and retire somewhere off on some island, but I don't. But these are some proven things over the years that have worked. If your mind is supposed to go back 4 or 5 years ago, or even beyond that, there has always been a tradition of excellence when it comes on to Mark Bay High School and the external exam performances. So the same straight A, 9-1s, straight A profile that is normally advertised at Mark Bay High School, which I must say, and I will always say, I was so surprised when I saw that on a student's CSEC certificate. But these things that are year after year after year, topping the national list and the Caribbean merit list and stuff like these, it's your students, your children who we will be celebrating these achievements with next year, this time. So I ask of you, this is, again, we are still looking to see what's happening with the 7-year program, but you are, either ways, you're on the final leg of your investment that you have made in their education, because you have been investing in their education, time and other resources since they have been in basic school, primary school, coming right up to high school. So we're on the either final year or final 3 years. I ask of you, please continue to take care of the investment, right? Whatever we are committed as a school to their academic excellence, and we ask of you that you will be the same. So whatever is needed, let us work together as a school and home to see how best we can provide it. We know that for some persons who don't have a device, it's quite difficult. We, in the guidance and counseling department, we make no promises to say that yes, we will be able to provide a device for every student. But I am going to say to you, reach out. A document has been shared in the WhatsApp group, the data collection sheet. Fill it out. If your child doesn't have a device, indicate on the data collection sheet so that we can reach out to me, if you don't want to talk to Mr. Logan, there are two other guidance counselors here at the school that you can reach out to, right? But reach out to somebody. Don't sit and say, boy, him not have it, she not have it, nothing not go and say just so it go. That doesn't work. There are many opportunities for them to benefit from. Many persons are interested in your child's development and your child's performance, and many persons are coming on board to help to ensure that this becomes a reality. So I ask of you, please let us continue in this final part of the investment in your child's education. so that they can continue to do well. Those who I know, there are some students in the year group who have been doing well over the years, please encourage them. This is when they need it most. And those who weren't doing so well over the years, they need the encouragement no more than ever, because all of them have it within them. It's not a question. Me not ask, if them have it within them. I have interacted with them long enough to know that they have it within them, right? So I ask of you, please provide that support. When it get rough, dig in some more. And when it get rougher, you dig in some more. But do not give up. Do not let up. I would prefer for you to call me or one of the guidance counselors or the form teacher, however, if something is happening, and let us know. Parents within the year group have called and they have received assistance. As I said, we're not promising any waving of any magic wand to fix any issue or rectify any situation, but we are committed to trying. This morning, I asked the students for effort, and I'm going to extend that ask to you, our committed parents, for effort as it relates to our students. So I am excited to see what this year holds. As I said, we're committed to preparing them, not just for the rest of their school life, but for what comes after, right? So we will be carrying out some activities from the department, seeing how best we can add to the motivation that needs to be plugged into these students, see how best we can add to that, and we are prepared to engage with our parents a little bit more. Over the years, I don't know how many of you have felt neglected by the school, but just as we're asking you to come a little closer to us, we are going to be coming a little closer to you as well and being a little bit more interactive and involved with you. So when we send the invites, obviously we are limited to virtual platforms now, Zoom, Google Meets, those kind of things. But so as we send the invites, we ask that as best as possible you join us when it's time, and let's have a great school year. Thank you very much, parents. Over to you. Oh, one more thing I must add. We had informed the students as well as it relates to CXC exams. Now, the governing body for the examinations have put things in place for students who have challenges. So they have what is called special assessment arrangements. So if there's something happening with your child, if your child has an illness or a disability or whatever circumstance would affect the child's preparation and performance for the exam, the CSEC asks that you apply for what is called the special assessment arrangements. So let's say, for example, there is something is happening with the child's vision, the child's eyesight, right? And it's difficult or more difficult for them to read. So, it's affecting their preparation for the exam. And when they get into the exam room, it might be difficult for them to see what's happening on the exam paper. So what would happen in that regard is that with our help from the school, from the guidance department, would assist you in applying for special assessment arrangements. So the child would have to go to the doctor. The doctor's report would have to say what's happening with the child, why it is that this might be a challenge, and then we would apply to CSEC for the special assessment arrangements. So if it is that the child would have a challenge reading what's on the exam paper, then CSEC might say that they are assigning to the child somebody to help them read the questions. Or let's say the child has a difficulty writing, they might assign somebody to write the answers on the paper for the child. So the child read the question and dictates the answer, and the person who is assigned as a writer writes for the child. So whatever the circumstance is, you let us know so that we can assist you in preparing, in applying for the assessment, special assessment arrangements, so that the child is not disadvantaged for exam preparation and exam performance. This is a conversation that we would need to have now in this time period, so that we have adequate time to apply for these measures. There's also special consideration, which we apply for a little closer to the exam. So let's say, for example, the child had physical education, practical to do next year, and he or she stepped on a nail, or the foot is sprained or something, so they can't do the practical, then would apply for special consideration. Or in the exam period, the child loses somebody close to them, somebody dies, we can apply for special consideration on the grounds of grief or the loss of a loved one. So these things are there, these things are in place, you are now being informed. So if this comes up, I would not want for next year, March, April, May, a student or a parent is coming to say, sir, from she did young, she'd have something wrong with her eye, or whatever the case is. This is the time that we'd have to apply for these things. So if this is the case, please make contact with the guidance and counseling department, or through your form teacher, or whatever the case is, but reach out so that we can offer assistance and advise you as it needs to be advised. All right. Thank you very much. Back to you, Ms. Grant.
Thank you very much, Mr. Logan. Very informative. As usual, the bottom line is, parents, whatever situation you have, whatever challenge you are experiencing, ensure that you share with us, because there's always a solution. Mrs. Ford Bryan has managed to rejoin us. Mr. Logan, could you make her co-host? So she wants to say a few words, give a greeting. Mrs. Ford Bryan, we're going to invite her to address the meeting now, to say a few words to the parents. Are you still with us, Mrs. Ford Bryan? Or is she trying to see if she's still with us? Are you seeing her, Mr. Logan?
Yes, I am seeing her, but she's muted and her camera is off. So I'm not sure. But her name is there.
All right. Could you get in touch with her for me, please? Tell her she can speak when she's ready to speak. All right. Okay. All right. Get in touch with her for me. Thank you. All right. So when Mrs. Ford Bryan is ready, she will.
I am here.
Okay. Yeah, she's here.
I am
All
here.
right. Okay.
I was on another call. Sorry about that.
Okay, miss. Okay.
So I really want to thank my team that is here right now, carrying through this parental consultation. My VP, Mrs. Beverly McDermott, your coordinator, Miss Carleen Grant, my guidance counselor, Mr. Joel Logan, and all other form teachers who are there, all other stakeholders, to my parents who have been making the sacrifice. You are here this afternoon because you have survived to the final leg of the race with our students, and we are grateful that you are here with us. I just want to use this opportunity to welcome you to 2021, 2022. And I know that definitely you are having some amount of mixed emotions. Some persons are rather very optimistic as we approach the new school year, but there are some who are very cautious, and it is understandably so. I came into the meeting, and I heard Mr. Logan. He is definitely reiterating our narrative for the school year, which is we will definitely try our best from our part to do all that we can to ensure that our students get all that they need to get. But in order for us to maximize on what we can do, we are craving for that partnership and that collaboration with our parents. We really want you to draw closer to us. We definitely will be drawing closer to you. I just want some feedback from you, however. How are you feeling as we approach the new year? The new school year. I really want you to get to the chat right now and write one word in terms of how you are feeling right now about approaching the new year, because I want to get a sense as to what our parents have felt in the past so that we can try to correct some of those and where we are heading in the future. So I just want for you to explain to me, just write a word or so to tell me exactly how it is that you are feeling. So I am hearing one parent here saying that he or she, it's she, um, depressed. Depression is a very loaded word right there. And Mr. Logan would have spoken that when we are feeling this way, we must reach out and we must get assistance. This is not something that we are going to pass over. So I am going to ask if you are depressed about not having devices or not knowing where to turn. We have our numbers. Reach out to your coordinator, reach out to the form, reach out to me. Our numbers are in the chat. If you want to send a private message to one of us, I am asking you to do that because I don't like hearing that word depressed. Mr. Logan, I'm going to really ask you to take note of that parent's name that I am seeing depressed beside. I am seeing neglected, worried, afraid. Are we getting from parents or are we getting from students? Neglected, worried, and afraid. Worried and afraid. Is it about the pandemic? Neglected. How can we reach out to you so that you can tell us what is happening and we try to direct you from frustration to hopefulness? So I see where we are moving and making the transition from frustration to hopefulness, because we have to believe that the Lord will see us through, and based on the partnership that we want to forge between the school and parents, that we will try to make it work. I am seeing confident amidst everything. I'm new to a lot of things just said in the meeting. Right now, I know there is a lot happening. Excited, frustrated. We take note of these expressions. Parents, last year we extended our partnership with the Past Student Association, which is becoming very fruitful. I know of a fact that the New York chapter, they donated 45 tablets, and those were on a loan for students last year. We actually collected them back in the summer so that we can do some amount of redistribution this year. The intention is for New York chapter, along with the other chapters, Atlanta and Jamaica, to see how best we can get some additional devices. Now, as Mr. Logan said, we are not doing a whole wishful want thing. We cannot supply the needs of everybody, so we are going on serious needs. So those parents who can in fact afford to purchase a laptop, your children will be going to sixth form, so you need to invest if you can. However, if you know that you have exhausted all options, we are asking you to reach out to us. I am telling you definitely that I am fearful of that word depressed. So I'm asking you to reach out to one of us and explain what your situation is so that we can guide you in a particular direction. I'm at my lowest point, can't even explain. These are just powerful expressions right now. I'm seeing another confused. I am going to ask you to continue writing because we need to know what is it that you are confused about so that we can bring clarity. Now listen, this is the final year of our children. Last year, they would have lost out a lot because our children are accustomed to being face to face with their teachers. Even more so, our teachers are accustomed to being face to face with our children. Teachers are also to the point wherein they are wondering, how is it that we are really going to make it happen, seeing that we have been online for 2 years? So we are sorting it out on our end. It's a lot of work. There is absolutely no denying it, because we pretty much have to do maybe 2 years worth of work in 1 year. But what we want you to do as parents, you don't have to know how to do the work. What we want you to do is to motivate the children, is to supervise the children, is to monitor the children, make them accountable to somebody. Let them know that they must do what they have to do. And if you see them slacking off, then you need to straighten them out. I am also going to put this in your hands too. If you are supervising your children online and you are even seeing where habitually, or it becomes a trend wherein you are not seeing a particular teacher, reach out to your form teacher, reach out to your year coordinator, reach out to someone and make a report, because we at this point in time, you have to help us to help you. That is where we are at. That is the level of partnership. We want to change the narrative wherein you say them up a school, or the teacher them, or them. No, it is now a us, because there is absolutely no way we can go through this year without each other. That is where I am at. So I see where parents themselves need motivation, and definitely the psychosocial aspect of the guidance program will extend itself to parents. You have your form teachers. These are form teachers who have been sticking very close to your kids from as far back as third form. I'm going to ask that whatever challenges you are having, make your form teacher one of your best friends now. Make your guidance counselor one of your best friends, your year coordinator, your VP responsible for the year group. We are going to do all we can to make it happen. And I want you to understand that I am not just speaking because words can come out of my mouth. What my child is in fifth form this year, and I have seen where this pandemic has impacted his life. So I can use him as a testimony right now. When my child says to me, and he is one of those students who have been doing very well over the year, that he says he has to go to face this year to make it happen. I know what our children are going through. He says he has to now see his teacher because this is the last lap. So we have to now be speaking to him that we are all now working on ensuring that we try to prepare ourselves for face-to-face, but it is not up to us. We can't make that decision right now. So whatever the situation is, we have to make the best of it. That is the narrative we are going through. So I'm going to ask you, parents, to stick with us, stick with it. Stick with it and don't give up. Don't say me can't bother. You can make it happen with help. If you need a shoulder to cry on, we are here with you. Trust me on that one. So I'll just read a few just in case others are not seeing it. I am seeing a lot of teachers last year went missing, and that is also frustrating. And that is why I made the comment that I did. It would appear to me that some forms have more form teacher support than others. Some forms are very informed while some are not, and some information has no weight. Good. Good. Good, good. So we are listening to your complaints. We are going to ensure that with greater monitoring and supervision that we will actually put a change to these. We received a text last night that we should return rental books. I had to call other persons to confirm return rental books. No, fifth formers won't need to return rental books. So that information was incorrect. And that was last minute, worried and concerned. So thank you very much for sharing with us. We have taken note, the year coordinator has taken note, the VP responsible, which is Mrs. McDermott for the year group, we have all taken note. So we are working towards changing all of this. Thank you so much for sharing, and be reassured that we are working towards transformation this year. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best for the new year. I really hope that your emotions at this point, after we have completed this meeting with you, will change. Thank you so much for sharing, and we will definitely will be attending to these concerns. Have a blessed day. Right over to you, Ms. Grant.
Okay, thank you, Mrs.
Grant, can I
Fordban. That
second,
is
please?
our acting principal. Thank you very much for addressing the meeting. Sound words as we go forward in this whole collaboration and partnership. I too was observing the chat just now. No, the message we got yesterday that we shared was not for return books, but there were some fourth formers who did not go to collect books during fourth form that they ought to have gone. And those were the persons we tried to reach out to say, if you didn't go to collect your book last year, because there were some fourth formers who went through the entire school year without going for their rental books, they should have gone for the books. In fact, earlier in the summer, when the other students were returning books, fourth formers reached out to say if they were supposed to return books. It was said no, it was posted in the year group and in their form groups, in the WhatsApp group, that fourth formers are not supposed to return books, that they are supposed to keep them for fifth form. Okay? So we have to be careful sometimes, parents, when we get the wrong information, because that wasn't the information we sent out about books. Another thing we have to be cognizant of is that we are online school. Right now, some of my form teachers, we had the full quota this morning in the meeting with the children, but some are now facing electricities out where Miss Archer is. Mr. Bravo is electricities out as well. So he's not in the meeting right now. Miss Watson could not be in the meeting. This morning, Miss Simon couldn't be because she had a problem with her device. She's now in the meeting, and Miss Dean is also here with us. Right, so let me go quickly again. The form teacher 5M, Miss Nortova, is no longer with us, right? Very active and very committed young lady, but she's no longer with us. And we have a committed form teacher, Mrs. Smith Iman, and she's no stranger to your children. They know her, and she's teaching some of them right now as well. 5-0, Mrs. D. Noble, you would have known her from as early as first form. She remains with us. Miss Watson, again, coming from third form, she's with 5R. Mr. Bravo, coming from third form, is in with 5A, right? Miss Archer, 5N, she's coming from third form, so you know as well. And Miss Simon is coming from 3T, and she is with 5T. So those are our form teachers for this school year, and all of the groups should have their WhatsApp group. In fact, this morning we did the registration, and they were supposed to go into their classroom to register. When I look in Zoom, I see 100 persons, right? I look through the names, they were mostly students and so on, right? When I go on YouTube, it's about 90 something of them. But when we check the register, it's about 130 of them are there about. I'm not even sure. I sent the numbers earlier to Mrs. McDermott that actually registered for the morning, right? So they have to be obedient, they have to listen, and they have to comply with whatever we ask them to do. right? The form teachers are there in the WhatsApp group. You reach out to them, give them whatever information, ask the question. They are very prompt in passing it on to me, and for me to pass it on to the guidance counselor. Some persons will pass it directly to them and then inform me that they had to do so, right? And the email address is always there for you to get in touch with me, and I'll respond via the same email, right? So we have to make sure that we reach out. I too note some of the words in the chat, but it's a new time, and as parent I have a child also going to third form. Frustration, sometimes scared, sometimes nervous, but one of the things we have to do is always make an effort, always make an effort to ensure that you're doing your best, always make an effort, right, to ensure, yes, that message was sent out via the form teachers for them to register in their classroom or to register via the WhatsApp. Well, it was supposed to be in the classroom. Some teachers would use the WhatsApp this morning as well. One particular teacher did that, right? So we have to ensure that we are cognizant of what is happening, and you ask your children too what is happening. We all have that responsibility. We don't want to play the blame game and say that is not happening and that is not happening. We all have that responsibility, and you all have my email address from last term. So if something not happening, in fact, there was this parent, and I want to commend her, Miss Kimon Hamilton Dean. She's always reaching out to me. She paid the 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 school fee, and she sent me a picture of her receipt and so on. And when she have questions, she email and she ask and I answer. And there are other parents who do that too. So the email is there. It's in the form. I gave it to you from the beginning in fourth form. I can give it to you again. You reach out and we respond. Do not think you're alone. I see people say that they feel neglected and so on, especially Charmaine Stewart seemed to have a lot of question with that, right? Um, we have to try to understand that these are not normal times, and that as much as possible, don't stay in your corner and say negative things and so on. Reach out. There are many means. Get in touch with the form teachers. They're usually right and prompt when something is amiss to let me know that this is happening or this is happening, or Miss Grant, we need to look at this and so on moving forward. All right, before we get to the question and answer session, I want to share the um, evening class thing with you that Mrs. McDermott mentioned earlier. This was also placed in the WhatsApp group. Any parent that saw this, the student, your child told you about it, could you put in the chat seen or heard? Did your child tell you about it? Because it was placed in the WhatsApp groups earlier this week. Did you hear about it? I'm not seeing you responding in the chat. Did you hear about it? All right, Miss Mattison, you didn't hear. Anybody who heard about it? Miss Hamilton heard. Miss Evan, yes. Persons who heard, yes. Thank you very much, Miss Wilson. Yes. Okay, seen, Miss Minor. So it was passed around. So this is the information. So if you want your child to be a part of the Evening Institute, the information is there for you to look at, have a discussion with your child, and make use of. The contact number is there. Make use of the information. It was shared. The thing is, you have to liaison with your children, because some of you, what I realize is that you are not the parent in the WhatsApp group, It's not your number in the WhatsApp group. Some of them, you are not in the group, right? And so your child is not giving you the information. So you have to ensure that you speak with them, ask them about that information, right? So that you know what is happening. Here is another information I'm sharing with you. Are you seeing this on your screen? I'm trying to, I'm getting to the chat in a minute. This is the information, the payment, how we pay the fees. This was shared also in the WhatsApp group. Those parents who are aware of it, indicate in the chat for me. Can you see it, Miss Wilson? those parents who are aware of it, we put this in the group. It came to us from administration and it was shared in the WhatsApp group about the two ways of paying the money to Morton Bay High School. And you have to be cognizant of it because it's going to be important for not just the school fee, but also to pay the exam fee. Did you see it? All right. People are saying yes. Right. I see one person said no, and there are persons who said yes. More persons saying no. One more person said yes, I saw it. All right. So this is the information, right? I'm going to ask the form teachers to repost it in the WhatsApp group. It will also, I know it was shared in some form class as well, right? So I'm going to ask the form teachers who didn't share it in the form class yet to do so, right? Remember, we are just reopening, right? And it will also be placed in the year group, right, as well. But this information has been shared with you, right, so that you can have the information to use. Another thing I want to point out to you parents is that we have these WhatsApp groups that the teachers are using to communicate with you and to communicate with your children. And there are some children who are extremely rude. They are very rude. There's somebody whose mic is unmuted. They are extremely rude and they can be extremely disrespectful. And what you need to understand is that teachers are using their personal phones in order to keep in touch with their students and to get the job done, right? And they come on, there are some messages that have been sent to me that is so rude. I have to email them to ask them what is happening. I have to email parents to make them aware of what is happening. You need to tell your children to be respectful, because if they are in the WhatsApp group and they are being disrespectful to the form teachers and they are creating havoc, we have no choice in the good interest and to protect the interests of the other students and to ensure that we maintain order. Some persons will be removed. So I'm going to ask you that you ask your child or ward to be respectful, to understand the parameters, and do not think it is okay because it's online school to be challenging and rude, because we have that going on. They feel that it is virtual school, teacher is far away from me, so I can be rude. I have several instances of that during last school year, right? And some persons had to be taken out because they were extremely rude. And whenever they go, and sometimes when we even have the year meetings and I go into certain form meetings, they are in the chat and they are making some very unfavorable comments, even about the teachers, right? So we have to be cognizant of that. We're all going through a rough time. We are all under stress and we're all trying to cope in the best way we can. And it makes it harder when the students are disrespectful and rude. So we're asking you in the best interests and to ensure that we all benefit from this time and that your children be the best that they can be. My grandmother usually say, manners carry you through the world. Ask them to be respectful in the WhatsApp group. I have had several complaints from 3T, 4T, right? I've had from 4A disrespectful comments and very out of order, right? So and when they do that, they will be removed, because no teacher should have their personal phone with a child being abusive verbally to him or her. So talk about that. All right. So ensure that you have that conversation with your child going forward. I keep telling them that we all will try to ensure that you be the best you can and give you as much help as we can give you. But you have to be respectful. You have to understand that you need to be courteous. Sometimes they send me an email and they don't even greet, right? They simply say what they want to say and not even a thank you at the end. Good morning, Miss Grant. So and so, you only hear, Miss, I didn't get the invite for my biology class, and that's it. No, good morning, Miss Grant. You don't have to say how are you or anything. Good morning, Miss Grant. I didn't get an invite for my biology class. Miss, could you please check it out? And thank you. common courtesy. You understand some basic principle, and even some of the message I get from the form teachers that they will reach out. No proper greetings, no proper acknowledging that they are conversing with an adult.
Mm.
So some of these things we have to look into and to encourage them to be respectful. They are in the WhatsApp group. Sometimes at night they are up in there tracing each other and sending all kind of message. And the WhatsApp group is to give them information. So after time, they're not seeing what is posted in there, because that is not their purpose. Right? There are some of them that have to come out from 40, some from 4A, some from right there, so because they are disrespectful and rude. Speak to them. All right. So let me quickly go now to exam analysis. All right, before we go to the question and answer, we want to go quickly because I know it's Friday evening, and there are some persons who can't be on for very long. So on the screen, somebody mic is open. Could you mute them for me, Mr. Logan, please? There's a mic that is open that is making some sound in my ear. So I'm going to tell you it's combined analysis for Christmas test and also the end of your exam, right? So what I have here now is this chart that shows you for the Christmas, the boys. We have the boys getting average 0 to 39. We have 39 boys, we have 26 girls. 40 to 54 average, we have 19 boys, we have 27 girls. 55 to 74, we have 35 boys and 57 girls, right? 75 to 84, we have 6 boys and 19 girls. And for 85 to 100, we have 1 boy and 3 girls. We all know that our honor roll is 75 and over, and that the school pass mark is 55. So that is how they did, right, with regards to average for the term, the Christmas term, that mid-year assessment that they did where you got the progress reports, right? Now I have this pie chart right here, this bar chart right here that is showing the blue is for the boys and this orange here, burnt orange is for the girls. So if you notice that for the 0 to 39, the blue is higher, taller than the burnt orange. So the boys are not doing so well right there. Most of them getting in the 30 to 39 right there. We need to work on these students right here because they can do much better and hope is not lost. 40 to 54 right here. We always have some students right here that if they go a little more, just put out a little more effort, be more confident, have some parents that believe in them a little more and push them a little more, right? They would have gone over into the 55 to the 74 range, and we move on to that. And for summer term now, right, it wasn't as good as a Christmas term because we have, for instance, we have a little more increase there. 0 to 39, 55 boys, 41 girls, and that's an increase there. 55, we had 39 before, and now it's 55. We had 26 before, and now it's 41. So we had an increase. We have 25 and 36, and that's also an increase because we had 19 and 27 respectfully. 55 to 74, 17 that fall down, right, as against 35 for the boys in the mid-year. The girls at 46 fell down from 57, right? 74 to 84 is 3 from 6, and then we have 6 from 19, right? 85 to 100, no boy got there, but we have 3 girls that did well in that area, right? So we really have to look at, and here's the chart again, right, with the boys in the blue, um right, 0 to 35, way up there. Again, we have a lot of persons right here in the 40 to 54 that if they just went a little more, push themselves a little more, study a little longer, come off YouTube and Instagram and so on. You go on Instagram to hashtag Carpe Diem Nation and so on, but not to spend time there looking at all kind of they know crazy and all of those ones that they're telling me that they're paying attention to, and those other things. 55 to 74, right there again, right there. So the bulk of the students right down here between 30 and 54, 0 and 54, that we need to really try to get on. Now, for the total combined terms for the entire year, we have 103 girls that made the average of 55 and over, and we have 52 boys, right? So, of the 230 students that we had in the school year, in the year group, 75 of them went below the 55 average. And we said that a lot of them fall in that 40 to 54. Had they worked a little harder, they would have made the average. But albeit, we have 67.2%, 67.4% of our students at fourth form at that time who made an average of 55 and over. 55 and over, we have combined for the term 30 girls on honor roll and 10 boys, right? That is students who made an average of 75 and over, which makes 40, right? So for the top performing students, we have two boys, Romar Bryan, with an average of 44.7, and the average is an addition of both averages for mid-year and end of year, and we divide it by two, right? So it's 84.7 for Romar. Shanar is the second top boy, 82.3. Top girls are Rowana Samuels, 87.3, and Danae Edwards, 85.6. And overall, Rowana Samuels, congratulations to Rowana and her parents and so on. She is the top student in the year for the last academic year with 87.3, followed by Danae Edwards with 85.6, Romar Bryan 84.7, and Shenar Wright 82.3. Now, for these children, as we said earlier, 40 of them on honor roll. It's not an easy feat at fourth form. It's usually, we say sometimes that one subject would appear as if it is two or three subjects in one, because it's very challenging as we go forward. So it's a little harder, it's more in depth, it takes a little more maturity and effort to get it done. So we really congratulate them when they manage to make the honor roll. And some of these children have maintained their position on the honor roll. All four of them, they have been making the honor roll since first form. And there are other students who have made it too, who have been making the honor roll since first form. When it comes to prize giving, you will hear the detail more of all the students who made it on the honor roll and so on. In the interest of time, we can't do that now, but we are encouraging you, as I said earlier, right? Behind that child that is going to excel and do well must be a parent that believed. Behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believed first. So I want you to encourage you this afternoon to believe in your students, believe in your children, believe in them. Even when they fall in that 0 to 39, believe in them, push them, encourage them, give them the resources, give them the vitamins, give them the right food, be there for them, spend time with them, encourage them, even when they are not doing as well as you expect them to do. Right? As I say to them all the time in the meetings, you are now online school, virtual school, where you are able to now go online and find all kind of information on YouTube. So use YouTube to reinforce what is being done, right? What you are learning in class, and do not just use it for entertainment, right? Make use of that. This is a crucial year. We are going to make the merit list for CXC. We are going to have top Caribbean students in our year group. We are going to have students topping Jamaica in our year group. We are going to do extremely well. We are speaking it into being. As I told them this morning, they did their vision board at second form, dust it off, put it up, and look at it. Those who didn't do it, please go and find something. Bible say, write down your vision. Write it down and work towards it. And parents, we're encouraging you to be behind your children, to believe in them, and to encourage them. This is the final lap. This is when they're going to go into CSEC and going to say, okay, I went to Mount Bay High School for 5 years, and this is what I have achieved. Right? I have my 8 subjects, I have my 9 subjects, I have 7 subjects. And bear in mind that they need a minimum of 5 to go to sixth form. They need a minimum of 5 to go into, yes, Miss Charmaine, behind every child is a parent that believes in them. Yes, right? And they need a minimum of 5. You're welcome, Mrs. Duncan Samuels. Subject to go into a tertiary institution, to go into Morant Bay High School. One of those meetings that we're going to have, because we're going to have frequent meetings, is that the sixth form coordinator is going to be here to tell you about some of what they need to matriculate for sixth form. Right? Some of the subjects that they're going to need to get there. They have to get their subjects in 1s and 2s. Mrs. McDermott told them this morning, we're not into the forest, we're not into the trees, we are into the 1s and 2s. So they need to get the 1s and 2s, right? And I go a little further to say not just the 1s and 2s, but to make the merit list, right? To get on that merit list, to be on that podium for a CSEC. All right, I'm aware of that. So we're at the question and answer section. I don't want Mrs. McDermott to leave us before we get to that point. So we're at question and answer. So Mrs. McDermott, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay, very good. So parents, we can take a few questions before we go. Right, okay, Pam, thank you very much. Are there any questions? We have the chat open, or you can open your mic, Mr. Logan. Right, are there any questions?
Yes, good evening to everyone. My name is
Hold on a sec for me, please. We have to make it brief, concise, because we are aware that persons have to leave early. So
Right.
one question per person, please, and very short
Right.
to the point. Yes.
Probably not a question, but last year, I remember sitting right here and hearing the orientation just like now. And I remember hearing Miss Grant spoke. And I'm a stay-home mom, I'm a stay-home wife, I'm a stay-home parent. And it's the second time I'm hearing Miss Grant's voice. I don't know where my son get bumped out. That's Othniel Lamy. I don't know where he lost. I don't know where he lost in the Morant Bay High School system. But my son with 100 performance coming from St. Thomas Prep, a student that passed for George's I don't know if I regret it. And I said, I sit in the bathroom, I made a ball, be living and cry because my son lost. My son lost.
Oh, okay.
I'm mad.
Okay. I am going to invite. What's the name of your son? Othniel Lamy, you said?
Yes, miss.
All right. So we have his contact, and I'm going to have Mr. Logan reach out to you. Mr. Logan, could you please take a note of it so we can reach out to Othniel Lamy's parent to give some support? Okay. Thank you very much, Mommy. Don't cry. We're going to see what we can do to help. All right. When will face-to-face begin? That depends on what the Minister of Education and the Ministry of Health and the government of the country says. Mrs. McDermott, is that so?
Could you repeat that again for me? Ministry of Health?
Somebody asked, when will face-to-face begin? So I was saying when the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education and the Prime Minister says so.
Very good, Ms. Grant. That's the information we have.
Yes.
Parents, it is not dependent on the school. We cannot go ahead and have face-to-face classes. We have to have permission. So when the Ministry of Health and the others say so, then we are ready. In fact, if Mrs. Fodder Brand was there, she would tell you that right now we are preparing the plant and we are ensuring that everything is ready so that when the ministry says face-to-face, we are ready.
All right.
Hello.
And I'm going to, hold on a sec. I am going to assume that you are vaccinating your children and preparing for that, because they did say that's a requirement going forward. All right. The school fee, that I don't have that on hand, but a letter was posted in the WhatsApp group. I will reach out to the form teachers to repost that letter. But that fifth form letter with the information regarding the school fee was placed in the WhatsApp group. So I'm going to ask the form teachers to repost it, and it will also be placed in the fourth form year group. So the children, because I have a feeling that some parents not getting the information, because they are not in the groups. The children are in the groups and they're not telling you, because all of this that you are asking me was placed in the WhatsApp group by the form teachers. All right. Someone was trying to
Hello.
speak. Yes.
Yes. Um, Rajan, I'm speaking in regards of Rajan Colburn. I was there when he sent in his English exam, and I didn't see it come up on his report. His teacher was Miss Lee.
All right. Send me an email. You have my email address.
No, I
Rajan
don't.
has my email address. Ask Rajan for the email address and send me an email and outline all of that.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Miss Stewart, I see you're giving me information. $12,500 for the school fee. Okay. I don't
Hello,
remember what it is, but I know the letter was sent. The letter was
hello,
placed in the WhatsApp group.
excuse me, good evening.
Hold on. I'm coming. I'm answering a question and I'm coming to you. What if the child don't take the vaccine? I can't tell you what is going to happen. All I can tell you is what the policy of the government is. And the policy of the government is that if the child wants to go face to face, the child must be vaccinated. I don't have no other answer to give you except that one. Okay? All right. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
Shafana's Henry's mom,
Yes.
and I'm not always at home to help her with her schoolwork or anything like that because I work. But what I'm saying, I haven't seen any report for her for the school exam that she did or the test or whatever. I haven't seen her report, so I don't even know what average she has. So I don't. Yes, I wasn't around to follow up with her schooling either because I was away for a while. So I don't know. Honestly, I'm lost of what she's doing in school because at one time I didn't have any internet and she was having problem getting into school and all of that. But for the most part, she tried and she get in most of her classes, but I really don't know what her average is like. And I hope for that to get better now in fifth form because I tried to get internet at my house, which I hope she will do better. I don't know. She choose her subject, but I don't even know what subject she's doing for CXC and stuff like that. I just want to know like when she will be starting doing her SBAs and things like that.
Mommy, were you in the meeting from the beginning? Did you hear Mrs. McDermott's presentation?
No, I catch the meeting at 3:30. I came from work. I was tired. I was asleep.
Okay. Well,
Grant, do you know that child? Because I think we will need to speak with that child.
Shaquana Henry. Yes, I know her.
Yes,
I can Mr. Logan make a note of her name for me. I'll get the information to you. I'm writing it down. Shaquana Henry. Yes, I know her, Mrs. McDermott. Yes.
So
Okay.
should I come by the school for
we will reach out to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we will reach out to you. Okay, we will reach out to you. Okay, Tyler's mom, I like your comment. Thank you very much. Okay, Christina Francis, how to access the reports. Your children were taught how to do that, and they all the form teachers have the list with the ID number that they would use as their password to go online. Mind they're hiding the reports from you, But I'm going to ask Mrs. McDermott, I don't know if you can help me. Maybe we need to get a document outlining step by step how the parents must access the report and to post it so that they can get the information, because apparently the children are not helping them to find the reports at all. All right?
Okay.
So we're going to try and get a document outlining step by step how you access the report, right? Because the report for December was exported, right? When was it, Mrs. McDermott? February? And then the one for July was exported in July for those June exams, right? So, and all of the form teachers, all of their names with that little special ID password number beside it that they need to use on School Manager, right? the school management system in order to see the report. All right. But we're going to put a document. Yes, Mrs. McDermott.
I am going to encourage the parents. I know most of you aren't technologically savvy, but you need to ensure that you know enough to get by. Because what I realize is that some students don't want their parents to view their reports. But parents, there is a way in which you can bypass it. Because what happened is that some of them would have gotten the password, they would have changed it to their own passwords. So even when you're trying to get through with the password, you will not get through because they have changed it. But I know that Mr. Uton, Mr. Senior, had instructed my third form parents as to how they can get on for themselves and bypass the student's password. So as you say, I am going to ask that that is done and that parents know how to get on. So parents, even if you have to ask they themselves to teach you, but try and know a little of the technology and of course of what they are doing. I know that last year I reached out to parents and I said to a parent, your child has not been at my class for the entire term. And the parent said to me, no, that is not true, with attitude and everything. No, Mrs. McDermott, that is not true. I'm the one who did all the invites for him. And I said, all right, you check it out. And she had to come back and apologize to me. She said, of course, that didn't happen. So they know how to manipulate the system. So please, parents, try a little, find a way to know how to manipulate the system. I know you might not be as tech savvy as they are, as I said, but know the minimum to get by.
Okay. Yes. Miss Charmaine, your hand is up.
Yes, Miss. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
I was just asking, seeing that we were online, in online classes for a while, and most of the information that the students received were virtual, soft copy. Would it be possible for them to take their phones in school whenever school reopens, if ever school reopens? Because most of the information that the teachers were giving them were electronically. So I was just wondering if that rule could be lifted, or they would have to. How would they retrieve all of that? All of those information.
Thank you very much for that question, Miss Stewart. Apparently, Charmaine, don't listen to me when I talk, because in the year meeting, I tell all of them, you need to have a notebook. You need to have your notebook for math, English, every subject you are doing, because every information posted in the classroom must be written in your notebook. If it's not written in your notebook and you can print it, print it. If you can't print it, then you write it, because there's no guarantee on this platform that every time you go, you will find it there. I tell them it in the year meets.
She has her notebook in a Miss Grant.
So if she has the notes in her notebook, she don't have a problem.
Some of the information are like 200 and something pages long. So.
And she have the entire summer, she didn't write them down. She didn't sit down when she's going to study. How she's going to study on the phone? She's going to sit down with a glare in her eyes to study that information for exam.
Miss Grant, right point. But I'm gonna tell you, sorry to interject, that teachers told my son, since the online thing, there's nothing for them to write, so they must just go along with them online. And now I'm hearing that the parents is saying about notebook. You see, every teacher comes up, and I'm sorry to be so mad, but
okay, Miss Mattison, hold on a second for me. The point is, we are teaching online, and you get the information. The notes is also posted. One of the things with online is that anything can go wrong and the system can crash and you can't find the information. So I said to the students from beginning in the year group meet, when we meet, and when I go to the forms, have your notebooks as you would for face-to-face and to write your notes. Right? I think Mrs. Fordbrand, Mrs. McDermott, can you concur, was talking about take device to school policy. that she is examining for the possibility of them taking device to school when we return face to face. So I think something like that is in the works, Mrs. McDermott.
Yes, yes. Take your own device.
Yes.
Yes, we are encouraging that, because even for computer and for EDPM and for information technology, we cannot afford to have, with the protocol, we cannot afford to have individuals using computer that others have just used. So we are encouraging students to take their own device. Our problem though is our internet. Parents, our internet, I will tell you from now, our internet at school is really not good. We want to upgrade it, but it costs a lot of money. It costs millions for us to do that. We are seeking ways in which we can do it, because we realize that it is necessary. It is necessary for us to have good internet service at school. And while I'm at it, Ms. Grant, I will just want to say to the parents that when we return face to face, we are going to be having a rotation wherein upper school will come 1 week, then they will be online for the following week, and we allow the lower school to come. That is how it will be when it is opened up for us to have face-to-face school. I don't know, maybe the early future, our minister might say those who are doing examination should come out to school, as what happened previously. But when we are open for school for everybody, it will be on a rotation basis. So we will have upper school 1 year, 4th, 5th, 6th will come in, and then one week, 4th, 5th, 6th will come in, and then the following week, 1st to 3rd form will come in. So what is going to happen, and I'm saying this, parents, because it really links to the fact that our internet system is not good. So when teachers are at school for 4th, 5th, and 6th formers, they are going to have it very difficult to be online, to be teaching the 1st to 3rd formers, and vice versa. When they're with the 1st to 3rd formers, the internet will not allow them to stay from school to teach 4th, 5th, 6th formers, but work will be posted in the Google Classroom. So we're going to be asking the students to go there and to do the work. And that is why we're going to be ensuring here, that's why we say partnership, ensure that they do the work. It will mean sometimes that when you're at work, you have to call them and say, have you done? And when you come home, you will have to ask them to ensure that the work is done. But that is where we are at. Ms. Grant, I must mention that I realized that a few parents, well, not a few, quite a number of parents are really disappointed as to where their children are at here now. Remember, the pandemic has not affected just our school, but schools all over Jamaica, and in fact, worldwide. But I'm going to be saying to parents, all is not lost. And don't give your child any excuse to believe that he or she can fail, because don't give them any excuse. They are to do their best. Require it of them. And when I say that, I am telling you from my experience as a parent, because when you hurry for them here now, they take it as an excuse not to do anything. Sympathize with them, but require it of them that they do their best. I said it this morning. I recall in 2010, I had a set of 4th formers, and they really never did well going into 5th form. The exam result was so poor, and I was so disappointed with them. And they said, Miss, watch it, we're going to improve. Our students are resilient, and they know how to bounce back. And that group of students, they ended up letting Morant Bay High School be 10th among the list of high schools throughout Jamaica, 100 and odd high schools, and they put Morant Bay High School at 10. So you see, parents, don't give them the excuse, require it of them. And I'm sure that some of them will move up to the challenge. There are some you will still have to be pushing them and poking them, being with them every step of the way. But if that's what it takes, I'm going to ask you to keep encouraging them. And I know, I see the fifth form last year, and when they came out, I really admire their spirit. I had to say to some of them, I really admire your spirit. How are you doing? Miss, I am going to make it. Miss, I am going to get the ones. You know they had the challenges and so on, but they were so positive. And that is what I want us to help our students to be positive. Speak things into being. What the mind can conceive, they can achieve. So encourage them and don't let them think that you are feeling sorry for them and they have a reason not to perform.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. McDermott. Right, parents, I hope you are listening right there, because all of these things we have to, where I see Miss Simon put a very pertinent thing in the chat, concurring to what I'm saying, that a lot of parents are not aware of what is happening because the children in the WhatsApp group not sharing with them. And so she had to teach a parent yesterday how to view the reports, and that viewing of reports has been going on since they were in third form, third form end of year. We send out information how to view reports online after they have been exported. That's how long it has been going on. And some of them keeping the information from you. All right. Asking Miss Grant, when do we pay for the evening classes? The number is right there. Just please call that number because I don't have all of that information for you. But when you call that number, the person will tell you what the arrangements are. So they call that number and the person will give you all the information you need. Okay, Miss Nemard? All right. Can the school fee be paid at the school? We are saying that exhaust all means of using the card because we're trying to cut down on the traffic. If, if, as Miss McDermott will support Mrs. Fordbrand said this morning, if there's no other means, then I think you can go to the school, but you have to exhaust all other means because we're trying to cut down on the traffic. And I shared the thing this morning, I showed it to you, and it has been placed in the WhatsApp group. So ask your children to show it to you. The information is there and it's very simple, Miss Kimona Hamilton Dean, she used it and she was able to send me her okay, in that case, Miss Pam, then I think you would have to try with the school. Okay, with regards to SBA started from fourth form from the 5th of October when school started last term. SBA started, but there is still time. So you need to have the conversation with your children to find out, because all subjects are doing SBA, Mrs. McDermott, except for human and social biology, Spanish and French orals, and so on. But all of the subjects are doing SBA, right? And all the subjects are doing SBA, and all of those, and some subjects, the SBA preparation start from as early as third form, right? Which last time it didn't, but since the 5th of October, SBA has started. I myself with my English group, if I'm teaching any of your children, they'll tell you English language SBA. They were supposed to be working on their group report and their oral piece during the break. Okay, so when I see them next week, we find out what's happening, right? So SBAs are happening. And remember, Mrs. McDermott says, if they fail the SBA, they have failed the subject and you don't want them to waste your money. So they need to ensure that they pay the exam fee. Sorry, I'm reading this note on deadline for school fee. Ensure that they do and submit the SBA. And if you're having challenges, right? The child, because whenever the child not doing the SBA, all hands on deck, form teacher trying, vice principal trying, principal trying, guidance counselor trying, your teacher trying, we all trying to get them to get it done. And if you are experiencing difficulties, let us know, right? Let us know, especially at this crucial time. I just passed on some names to Mr. Logan this morning, children reaching out who don't have devices and so on, right? Crucial time. Do not stay in your corner and you're having difficulties and you don't reach out. Usually the deadline for paying school fees is August, right, Mrs. McDermott? The deadline for paying school fee is usually in August, right? But you can always pay it whenever you're able to, as soon as possible, right? As soon as possible.
Okay,
Miss,
yes, Miss Grant.
yes, okay. Yes, Mrs. McDermott concurred. There was an Anne with a Marcia Lee or something. She had her hand up earlier. Miss Lee, are you still here? Right. I'm looking in the chat to see if I'm missing any questions. All right. So seems like we have covered all of them.
No,
Right.
miss, sorry, good evening. I think you missed a question there that
Miss,
I
I'm still
posted.
here, Miss.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to.
Marcia is still here.
Oh, Marcia is still here. Miss
It's just
Taylor,
a
what is
little
your
bit.
question? What's the question you posted?
I was just a little late and getting to my mic. It's not really a question. I was gonna ask, oh, could I get to my daughter's report? And oh, I haven't paid the school fee as yet. I don't know how to do it online. So I was asking if I could like come by the school to get the voucher so I could take it to the bank and do so. Because I
Okay,
don't
what
have
they're
a
doing
online
is
bank account.
so the information on how to pay it online was posted in the form room chat, and some teachers have posted the information in the classroom, right? When you read it, you don't understand how to do it.
I don't know nothing about the classroom chat.
And
I've never been in there.
no,
It's
but
only
your
like,
child would be in it to give you the information.
yes, but that's what I'm saying. I do not have an online banking system, so I have to go to the bank personally to do so. I
Okay,
don't even know how to use the machine itself to lodge it
so you
into an
don't
account.
have a card, you don't use a card.
Yes, I use a bank card.
But if you use a bank card, the step is there, easy to follow.
Uh,
And
Or
if
Miss
you
Grant, she
yes,
can
Mrs.
take the
McDermott.
card by the school and get it done there. She'll get her
Okay, she
receipt.
can
Just
take the
I
card
rather
by
to
the
do
school
it
and
easier
swipe.
way, me. I rather
Okay,
to
you
do
can.
it easier way we make your manage. Miss me too early enough confirm.
All right, you can go. That's why you have the young children to help you. You can go to the school and swipe the card. All right.
Okay, okay then. That
Okay.
better for me.
Guidance department has posted a link there for you to. If you are not in the parents WhatsApp group, please join. So there is a link for the parents WhatsApp group that is manned by the guidance department, and every information that is posted to the students in the WhatsApp form group is also posted in that group. So there is a link in the chat. Take it down and join it via WhatsApp.
And Miss Grant, I must say it is very important that the fifth formers join the group because any information relating to CXC will be posted in the group. So in addition to giving it to the students, we are going to be posting it in the group for the
that
parents.
WhatsApp group.
So I'm encouraging every parent to join the group.
Parents, can you see the information in the chat now from the guidance department, MBHS guidance department to everyone for the WhatsApp link for the parent group? Can you see it? I don't hear you answering me.
I am not seeing it.
But you have to scroll up through the chat to see it.
Well,
right? It's in the chat. It was posted there. Mr. Logan, post it again, please, because maybe the information keep coming.
When you
Right,
say in
it's
the
right
chat,
there.
I'm looking at, okay, I just saw it.
Right, so take it down and click on it, and you'll be a part of the group to get the information that your children are not sharing with you.
I see 2 emails in there, so I don't know which one to take down, miss.
It's not an email, it's a WhatsApp link.
Oh,
So you put it in your phone and you join by that link.
may I go screenshot it so I can.
Okay, yes.
Well, if you screenshot it, it won't work. You have to touch the link.
You have to touch the link. Tell it, Mr. Logan, you probably have to give them a guide how to use the link and to get a part of the group. You want to do that, Mr. Logan, quickly?
It's just to touch the link, miss. There's
I
nothing.
touched the link and it said, go to WhatsApp, join.
Okay.
And I press
Yes.
join in the
And
group.
just press join. Yes. Just
The
like
other-
that.
The other link that is
Okay,
posted.
I'm there. I saw
for-
it now. It's on my phone.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So you will be in the know now.
The other link that
Alright.
is
Thank
posted
you.
is for the data collection sheet. Parents, I'm asking you, please, parents or children, students, fill out the data collection sheet. If we don't have your information in our databases, it will be difficult for us to get to you. So if we have the phone numbers.
Right. Yes.
So
How we do that data collection sheet thing
Just
now?
Click on the link,
on
right? Like what you did for the WhatsApp just a while
and
ago.
just put in the
Click
information.
on that link
that's
and then
asked
a form comes up and you fill out the form and give us your most current telephone number that we can reach you very quickly.
Okay.
All right. So all parents know you weren't in the parent WhatsApp group. There is the information for you to add it. All right. And to make sure that you're in the know. All right. Okay, Miss Pam.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. You are welcome. And for those persons, as Mrs. McDermott said, if you having issues with your card, you're not so sure about to use the online platform to pay the school fee, you can go by the school, but we don't want the crowd and we don't want the fifth form parents to go up there and say, Miss Grant and Mrs. McDermott say, we can come up there. No. For those persons, I'm coming, miss, who are challenged, you have difficulty paying the money using the card or the debit card, then you can go by the school. But in this COVID time and the protocol, we're trying to cut down on the numbers. You see how the banks are operating now? They're not taking in people so much and all of those things are changing out to machines and so on, right? So you have to be careful in what we're doing. Okay.
And Ms.
Yes,
Grant also,
yes, Mrs. McDermott, go ahead.
the banks are reducing the number of persons who come there to pay fees. So it's best if they pay online.
Okay.
So as you said, let the children help your parents.
Yes, man, it's very
online.
simple.
That's the best way.
Yes, it's very simple
And
to
the
follow.
safer way.
Okay. My modes of communication, Miss Pam, is an email address. Nishan can give it to you. They all have it, where you can email me. Yes, yes, Miss Steele. That WhatsApp link there is the fifth form WhatsApp group. Yes, it is. All right. Yes, ma'am. Who were talking before? I'm in the chat, so I can't really see the participants who are talking, but somebody was saying something before Mrs. McDermott came in. Who is that person? Please, can you go ahead? All right, so we take it that all your questions are answered and you are okay?
Excuse me, please.
Yes,
Marcia
go ahead.
again.
Yes.
My daughter, I didn't get a TRN done for her, so she don't have a recent ID. She only have her ID from what was it? From 2020. So I want to know if she had to get a new ID done and if she had to do get a TRN done as well.
Mr. Logan?
Document asks for this SRN, student registration number, and the TRN. If you don't have them, just submit the form without it. The form can be submitted without either one of them. So just submit it without.
Okay, thank you. That's what I asked. That's why I asked, because I saw it on the document.
All right. What you don't have, and that number they have from primary school, there's that what's the number again? NRS number. What's the number, Mr. Logan?
SRN, student registration number.
Okay, student registration number. They would have gotten it from primary school. If they don't have it, you submit the form, because I think Mr. Logan can get it and put it there. All right. Any more questions? You're welcome, Miss Pam. Any more questions?
Miss.
Good afternoon, Miss Taylor.
Yes, good afternoon, Miss. Yes, I must commend those teachers that are working overtime to assist these children in this virtual space. However, some teachers, we have not been getting the feedback that we so desire in this virtual space, because I must say that for some teachers, I have not, or my child has not been getting any feedback whatsoever from some teachers. But this is not
Okay.
really a question, but I'm saying that I must commend most of the teachers. Miss A is
All
one
right.
of
Don't
our
call any name. Don't call any names.
all
Don't
right.
call any names.
I don't
But
want to
I'm going
call
to
a
ask you
name
to
because
do
if I
something for me,
start
Miss Taylor.
calling name Miss Grant, but
Don't,
I'm saying, how do you hold those teachers
all right.
accountable in this virtual space?
All right,
That
Miss
has
Taylor. How do we hold them accountable? Because
in
one of
this
the thing is,
virtual
yes.
space as it relates to their performance.
All right, you heard Mrs. Ford Bryan spoke earlier. You probably didn't hear, but I think in the fifth form orientation meeting, Mrs. McDermott talk about supervision, closer supervision, because one of the things you understand is that with this COVID, we are thrust into this mode of teaching and learning, and we are all learning while we teach. But some parents have reached out to me via email. Your daughter has the email address. So send me an email with the subject and the teacher's name, because usually what I do is to reach out to the HOD to say, this is the situation and the complaint I'm having. Right? And then we take it from there. Because if it's a situation now, it's fifth form, exam time, and there is gap in something, we want to address it. So I'm going to invite you to send me an email with the subject, the name of the teacher, and what your concerns are, and I'll take it from there and take it up with the HOD. And I'll also give you a response via email. Okay, Miss Taylor?
Right.
Miss
Okay.
Grant,
Dermot,
may I add also, Miss Grant,
Yes, ma'am.
that if they think that because you're a teacher, they don't wish to discuss other teachers' matter with you, they can consult the guidance counselor.
Okay, very good. Yes, yes. You can consult the guidance counselor, and Mr. Logan is always available. All right, so we can get that done. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Miss Stewart, yes, we had some issues last time with math, but we managed to merge the classes. But going forward now, I think we should have teachers available for all subjects for all classes. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes. Mhm. Okay, Miss Pam, thanks for the kind sentiments. You are welcome. We at Mark Bay High School, we continue to carpe diem and do our best as much as we can. All right. Remember the email address. We know this is the mode we have been communicating. So, and your children have my email address, and I don't ignore once you get in touch with me via email. If I don't answer promptly, it's because there is an outage with the internet or a light or something like that. And then it will take maybe a day or two for me to respond to you. But once I see it, I have a block in my day, every day that I go in to answer emails from my parents and students. Okay, so I will always respond to you. All right. Any other questions? Any other concerns? No? Okay, so we are looking forward to a productive year. Mrs. McDermott, any last words before we wrap up?
I just want to leave this quote with the parents,
Yes.
Miss Grant. It
Okay,
says,
yes.
higher than the highest human thought can reach is God's ideal for his children. And it's taken from the book Education by Ellen G. White. It says, higher than the highest human thought can reach is God's ideal for his children. So higher than your expectation, parents, higher than the expectation that children have for themselves is God's expectation for them. Let us guide them and let us, as I said before, present them to God. Let them know how to trust and to believe in God. And I know that they will be a success.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. McDermott. Right. And on that note, I'm not giving you any quotation. We're going with that one. Thank you, Miss Pam. Happy Sabbath to you too. And I am really, I'm asking those parents who are with us, who know the worth of prayer, to lift up our year group. I've given you the names of the form teachers. Mrs. McDermott is our direct supervisor, for vice principal. Pray for our year group. Pray for our continued success. Pray for the improvement. If you find a problem, pray about it so it gets better. Please to pray for the fifth form cohort and the form teachers and teachers, subject teachers, so that we can all carpe diem and ensure that we do the best that we can for these children. My interest, I keep telling them it's one of my most difficult teaching period I've ever had with this COVID-19, especially last year when I had to place them remotely without being able to touch them, to talk to them, to confer with some of them. And even though you do it via email, and so on, it's really painful, but we have to trod on. We can't let the circumstances defeat us and overcome, as Miss Edmonds said this morning in our devotion with them, and maybe some of your parents were listening in. We are overcomers, right? And I'm looking forward to working with you. My email address is there. Please reach out. For those persons who have reached out to me, I always answer. Those of you who have not reached out yet, feel free to do so. This is fifth form crucial time. We don't want anybody left behind. We don't want you to have a problem and keep it to yourself. When the time comes to pay the school fee, you hear Mr. Logan give his long presentation about all the facilities that are available. If you have a problem, it is solvable. So reach out to one of us, right? Reach out to one of us. I guess the parent support group is a parent group that you would be in, Miss Stewart, right? And I guess Mr. Logan, you can probably arrange some psychosocial presentation. Maybe the next meeting we're going to have a psychosocial presenter to help our parents cope, right? Because Miss Stewart asking if we have a support group, right? But we're going to do something like that. Mr. Logan, and make a note of it. Please make a note of it for me too, so that our next parent meeting, and we're going to have these frequent meetings, right? We might meet with you in forums and like this, because we want everybody to be on par, on the page, and to be in the know. I really applaud. I have 230 students. Not 230. I think we are at about 220 now or thereabout, because some persons have gone on to other things and some persons are staying back in fourth form and so on. But when I looked earlier, I had a high of 59 on Zoom and a high of 34 on YouTube. You understand? And this is the thing. Sometimes parents don't make the time for the meetings, and then you say you don't know, and then you say this and you say that, right? And you have to be in the meetings. You also have to liaison with your children. You have to ask them what is happening. You have to reach out to the form teacher. And have to reach out to me anytime you have a question. Send me an email to ask me. Reach out to the guidance counselor, right, to find out what is happening and what you need to do. I really thank you for taking the time out to be here with us this afternoon. Thank you for your participation, and thank you, despite you have your challenges and you're raising them. I thank you in the respectful way that you have done so, right? So respect me, I respect you, and together we work together. Together, our hands join together for the advancement and development and the best for your children. God bless you. Stay safe. Okay, that's it for this evening. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Good evening, parents. Thank you very much, Mrs. McDermott. Thank you very much, Mr. Logan. And I think I still have some form teachers with me. Mrs. Dean Noble was with me, and Miss Simon was with me. I think they have left. The others had some issues, so they couldn't really join us. Miss Smith Hyman was here earlier, and then she had to go. Mr. Bravo and Miss Archer had electricity issues. All right, thank you very much, and we look forward to more meetings throughout the school year. Thank you very much, parents.
Bye, Miss.
Okay, bye-bye. Who is that, Rona?
Yes, Miss.
How are you, Rona?
I'm okay.
I see you guys. When do I have your first time? On Tuesday morning. See you guys on Tuesday morning. Okay? Mr.
Yes, Miss.
Walker? All right. So see you all on Tuesday morning. All right. Take care and stay safe.